There is no peace among the outside world. You can't go to, I'm trying to think of some kind of meeting place. If you go to the Eagles Club, they're not going to all be happy with each other all the time. As Christians today, we're not going to all be happy with each other all the time, but it shouldn't be something that when people come in here, they don't tell any difference from a bar to the church. We should be able to say we are a people of peace among ourselves. That means sometimes we're going to have to let things go that annoy us that other Christians do, or we're going to have to apologize to people when we say things we shouldn't to them. We should be a people of peace among ourselves. God gave us this gift so that the world would look at us and say, whoa, they're different than we are. And if we're no different, if we're not showing any different amount of peace in our lives, in our relationships with each other, then what is the point? Because we don't have peace, we don't have anything. So we need to have peace as a group of people. Now, do we do that all the time? We don't all the time have peace among ourselves. We don't. We have church that splits. This church that has we have a split from this church. We have churches that split. We have bad things that happen. But after that happens, what we need to do as well is try to, again, extend peace among ourselves. That might mean, we don't need to... When I was a kid, we used to fight with the Methodists because Jax used to serve lunch, and I would sit in that back pew and I'd watch all the Methodists walk in at 11:30, and they would wave at me because they were eating before I was. And I really dislike Methodists for that. Now, if Susan would be watching this broadcast, I like you. But the thing is this, I despised them. I was like, Methodists aren't Christians. They're getting out early and they're waving at me and they're braggarts. I despised them. I did not like them. But you know what? We should have peace among even interdenominational lines. I really liked last week we had a community service here. And we had Eric General Baptist, we had Methodist, we had Nazarene. Thank you. I was trying to think. I was going to say, I've always called that Don Wells' church, but that's not Don's church anymore. He's a different one. But we had Nazarene. We had we had people here from different denominations worshiping together in the same place. We should be able to do that more often and not have. Sometimes I think we kind of get stuck on denominational lines. We don't have peace among the denominations. We should be able to agree to disagree on some things and go on. We should have peace among ourselves. All right, now let's get to the last thing here. We're going to jump into the New Testament now to Romans chapter 13. And we're going to be in verses 11 through 14 for very quickly. And here... Paul writes, he says, besides this, knowing the time, it is already the hour for you to wake up from your sleep. For now our salvation is nearer than when we first believed. Night is nearly over and daylight is near. So let us discard the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. Let us walk with the decency as in the daylight, not in carousing and drunkenness, not in sexual impurity and promiscuity, nor in quarreling and jealousy. Now, I know y'all are going to read this and look at this and go, now how in the world are we going from talking about peace to this? Ultimately, what we're talking about here is this. To get this peace, we have to give up some things. We have to quit living. To rephrase this in a way, I'd say quit living like the devil at night and like Jesus during the day. It's time for us as Christians to step up and live right. It's also time for us as Christians to say, you know what? Our integrity means something throughout every aspect of our lives. If we want to have true peace, I keep pointing this candle, but the thing is, if we want to be like that candle, we want to be truly at peace, we're going to have to get some things out of our lives that keep us torn up, that keep us away from being at peace. That might mean something you have in your life. You might have a skeleton in your closet. You don't want. And I'm not saying go out and tell everybody about it. I'm just saying you might need to get it out and throw it out and put it with a bone pile, whatever you do with skeletons in your closet. It's time as Christians for us to be at peace, and to do that, we've got to get rid of some junk. Everybody knows what we have, and this is one of my biggest kicks to get on with y'all and with anybody is everybody knows something that's between them and Christ tonight. You can sit back and you know what it is. It's time to get that out. We want to have a season of Advent where we really get excited about Christ's birth. We need to be at peace. And we need to find out what's between us and God to take that peace from us. Everybody here probably has something. So what's my challenge for y'all tonight? First thing is this. One, it is Advent. It is the season of Christ's birth. Get excited. Be happy. Amber has been having to ride around with me since the 16th of November, and Faye heard this morning. The 16th of November on XM, Holly came on, and I don't know, y'all who don't have XM radio don't know what Holly is. It is 24 hours of Christmas music all the way until the 31st of December. And you know why I sound excited? Because I am excited about that. I called everybody and said, who I knew had XM, and said, you better listen to Holly. I called my sister and I went, Mandy, Holly's on you. What's that? I went, you don't know of the goodness? Guys, be excited for Christmas. Be joyful. Be ready for it. I love, when I started talking about doing this about Advent, I got excited because it's Christmas. There is going to be people lighting up their houses. We've been in Branson all week, and Branson kind of skips Thanksgiving to an extent because they get everything for Christmas up. And we were down there, and every show had their Christmas songs and everything going on. And it's hard not to say, I'm excited about Christmas. We need to be excited. Number one, as Christians today, get excited about the birth of your Savior. It's coming up when we celebrate. It only happens one time a year, and be excited. Second thing is this. During this season of Advent, we need to get our hearts back where they were when we first got saved. When you had that fear and awe of Christ. When you had that great respect. And to do that, we need to find where our peace is. And what's between us and the peace that God gave us when we first got saved. So if you're here a Christian tonight, find your peace. If you're here and you're not a Christian tonight, the thing is this, it is time to quit the carousing, quit the drunkenness, quit all that. It is time to dedicate your life to Christ. How do you do that? You have to come to know Him. And you have to come to know Him by admitting, believing, and confessing. Admit you're a sinner, believe in your heart He died on the cross for you, and confess it with your mouth. We're going to open this altar up. We're actually going to play a song tonight. With the praise team's going to come up after that. But we're going to open up this altar to you tonight. If you want to come to know Christ, anything, come forward. If you want to get with that peace, come up, pray about it, get what's